golfing scene in the country has been on an upward trajectory over the past couple of months. On today's episode of the show, we are going to be talking about the Birdies for Good initiative. The initiative, which has been created by Absa Bank PLC, aims to promote a safe and a cleaner environment in the country.
So my name is Waiyaki. I head Sustainability and Citizenship at Absa Bank Kenya PLC. And citizenship is mainly corporate social responsibility, as is widely known. And in my role, what I focus on is, from a strategic perspective, how we drive sustainability and how we drive corporate social responsibility, and looking at the longevity of it in terms of it being sustainable and it creating social impact. And therefore, we look at it from different lenses. We mainly focus on 4 pillars. We have environmental sustainability. We also have inclusive finance. We also look at education and skills. And lastly, promoting a just society. So the 4 pillars guide what we do every day when it comes to sustainability and citizenship. And mainly it's to ensure that we leave our community better than we found it. And we also drive economic empowerment and economic growth to the country. And lastly, of course, ensuring that we embed people. So looking at the triple bottom line and ensuring that we drive all this agenda through the shared growth lenses. And this is mainly to say that as a business, we recognize that business has to be able to be profitable for it to be able to add impact to people and planet. And so all those pillars, we do look at them through that lens.
Maybe you can talk to us about why it was important for Absa as a brand, to create such pillars on which to pivot what the company is doing. Because I know most of the times when you mention the word Absa Bank, the first thing that comes to mind is a financial service provider. So why was it important for the brand and the company to pivot itself on those pillars that you mentioned?
So when we look at, and that's a very good question, Nation, because at the end of the day, we are a financial institution, and our number one priority is to see how we drive all the pillars that I mentioned through finance and through lending. And therefore, you will see as we drive these pillars, financial inclusivity, sustainable finance or green finance is one of our top priorities, because that's what we do on a day-to-day basis. We lend, and therefore helping to accelerate the environmental conservation through financing is quite critical. And so when we look at environmental conservation as a pillar and inclusive finance, a big part of it is driving the financial conversation, whether it's through mitigation or adaptation financing or transition financing. So it becomes quite important. But that said, under environmental conservation as well, we do look at, under environmental pillar, we do look at environmental conservation. And I know we'll get a little bit more deeper into this. And this is where we are saying we need to be able to mitigate the impact of climate change through planting and growing of trees, because it is important. As a financial institution or as a business, we do not operate in a vacuum. We operate in an environment which has people, an environment which is impacted on a day-to-day basis through climate. And therefore, environmental conservation is also quite an important pillar. And also within the inclusive finance, it's looking at how we work with the underserved communities, and this is looking at the different groups of youth, women, and persons living with disability, and seeing how we collaborate with them, how we empower them, how we work with them, whether it's from a financing perspective or any other mentoring and coaching that is required. And lastly, on the 2 pillars of promoting a just society and education and skills, it's also to ensure that we are driving advocacy for the important things. So it might be gender-related items. It might be advocacy for climate change. It might be advocacy related to human rights or labor rights. Of course, we support that as well. And on education and skills is mainly working with the young people to prepare them for the world of work and also to prepare them for entrepreneurship for those who would like to run businesses. So that's really very high level, on how we look at all the pillars and how they relate to us as a financial institution.
There's an important part that you mentioned there that deals with the environment. I think this would be the ideal time for us to delve into what Absa has been doing. Especially, I'm going to pivot it to the magical Kenya Open that took place early this year. I mean, maybe you can talk to us about what the Birdies for Good initiative is about, what the initiative aims to achieve, and how far has the initiative been able to achieve the set targets that you had?
All right, thank you. So for Birdies for Good is an initiative which we started to complement all the golf as a sport, in terms of how do we then leverage the sport to be able to do good within the community. And so Birdies for Good, this is the second time it's running. The first time it was introduced, we sponsored for everybody that was scored during the magical Kenya Open. We contributed a certain amount to it, which would then be used to help communities in terms of initiatives that are driving social impact or environmental impact. So, and this was done, of course, in partnership with Kenya Golf as well. They did come on board as well, and the European tour, just to be able to plug in as well. So Birdies for Good is seeing how we connect sports and community investments, because even as we drive the magical Kenya Open, and a lot of support goes to the local golfers, the caddies, and we support quite many of the locals to be able to sponsor them through the Magical Kenya Open. We also added an additional initiative. So last year we were able to raise approximately 8 million shillings together with the partners. And what we did was to run a competition where we asked people to put in different initiatives that they want to support within their communities. And we need to be able to see how that is creating positive change. So we did get quite a lot of entries, and they were taken through a rigorous process, and we were able to select the top 3. And the top 3 were mainly from Samburu County, and also Isiolo and Laikipia. So those 3 initiatives were by young people, which was fantastic, because then it goes to also supporting the work that the young people are doing within the communities, and then also focusing on issues that are quite issues that are in the various communities. So for example, in Laikipia County, there was a lot, there was for school-going children, and specifically focusing on girls. Sponsorship was given prize groups who are running enterprises to be able to support their livelihood and to support their funds as well. Moving up, Samburu County, we had a lady who is supporting women and girls to be able to have accessibility to sanitary towels. It is still a great need within some of these communities. And the impact of that is that more and more girls are now not missing their school days because they have to stay home during these seasons when they have their menstruation. And you see, in this day and age, really, we shouldn't be having school going children missing school for those reasons. So it's still quite a need. And then looking at this Isiolo County, a group of young people who are planting trees in this area, and because it's one of us and had hit by the impact of climate change. So it educate the communities on the importance of environmental conservation, and not only educating them, but also supplying them with seedlings and helping them manage the seedlings until they grow. And so based on that success, this year we decided to also run the campaign again. And this year it's focusing on environmental conservation, specifically for schools. And this is where we'll be planting fruit trees. Trees, you may ask, I think we recognize that we need to train our conservation, and you can teach through educating them, but also through practically doing it. And therefore we have identified over 110 schools, and this is being done in partnership with KFS and our different environmental conservation partners who are going to help us through this journey to be able to provide the seedlings to the schools, ensure that they are planted correctly, and working with the schools to ensure that the trees are taken care of for the next couple of years until the trees are strong enough to be able to survive. And of course, this also complements the nutrition within the schools. The children now have fruit trees that they can, the fruits that they can enjoy from the fruit trees. And so we saw this as a way to have multiple benefits for the children and also the
Okay. There's an interesting thing that you mentioned there, that especially with relation to the Birdies for Good initiative, that most of the people that you've been involved with the Birdies for Good initiative are mainly the young people. Why the focus on the young people? I mean, you could talk to other, older people and they will still be involved, but why is there so much emphasis on involving the young people in such initiatives?
Thanks, Nation. I think there are many reasons why you focus on young people. But first, I think need to support the future generation. Our young people have a lot of talent. They have a lot of innovative ideas. They are doing a lot of great things within the communities. And what lacks sometimes is just that big brother, big sister kind of them through, whether it is business or their careers, just being able to handhold them through that journey, and you will be able to see the amazing stuff that they can do. So if I look at this, 3 amazing young people from the communities who won the competition, I think if you go to the ground and just see the mere impact that the projects they are doing is creating, it really will amaze you. From the young to the very old, I think it's all inclusive. It's touching on issues which are relevant to their communities. It's touching on empowering. It's touching on mentoring, coaching. It's touching on educating. So I think our young people are doing a lot of great things out here. As an institution, we do support and plug in where we can to be able to continue uplifting them and giving them that support. I think we also need to realize that through these initiatives, not every young person who gets out of school is able to secure a job. And therefore, looking at these young people who are creating initiatives which trickle down further to create job opportunities for others, then you're actually solving one of the biggest challenges. So for example, the group which is doing the tree planting within the Isiolo County, if you look at the number of youth who are part of that program, it really does help to ensure that the youth are actually spending their time doing valuable activities which add value to them, but also add value in the community. And also it becomes an opportunity for these young people to mentor other younger people when they see them, what they're doing and how it's impacting, then they're able to really nurture and mentor younger people, more younger people than them. So I think that there really are a lot of reasons why to support young people, and it's the right thing to do. At the end of the day, if you do not support young people within the community or in this country, then you're not giving them an opportunity and you're not giving them a stage to set them up for bigger and better things in future. So I think if nothing else, it is the right thing to do. And as an institution, we believe in supporting young people and just hand-holding them through their journeys.
Maybe you can talk to us about some of the programs that you have planned out for later in the year to support the Birdies for Good initiative before we get to the Magical Kenya Open again next year.
Yes, thanks, Tashan. So for this year, the Birdies for Good initiative is going to be focusing mainly on environmental conservation, and mainly this will be through fruit tree planting and growing across schools. So we'll focus mainly on maybe primary schools or secondary schools, and just be able to provide them with the fruit trees and expertise required just in terms of them ensuring that they take care of the trees. And so I think this year specifically, the Birdies for Good is majorly focused on environmental conservation.
Okay. Maybe finally, as we wrap up this discussion, there are two aspects of the pillars that you mentioned earlier on, and I just wanted you to touch on them because I feel like they are aspects that we can never really run away from. The first one is education and skills, and then the other one is just society. Maybe you can touch on those briefly in terms of what, as a brand, you're doing to promote those two pillars. I'll probably organize for another session when we are going to be, get deeper into the four pillars, because I really think they really interest me a lot. So maybe you can touch on those two and talk about what the brand is doing in that direction.
All right. So for education and skills pillar, I think our main focus here has been seeing how young people get support to transition into the work environment, and also for those who want to run enterprises, how we are able to support them. So we first have a program which we call Ready to Work, and Ready to Work is free for anyone. You can either download it through your mobile, through the app stores, or you can access it through your computers if you want to use a computer. So Ready to Work program has 4 pillars. We look at work skills, entrepreneurship skills, money skills, and people skills. And basically what we try to do is to educate the young people on these 4 pillars, on how they can be able to excel in the world of work for those who are transitioning. Do your interviews. When you get to the workplace, how do you ensure that you are able to perform at your optimal so that you can be able to have a higher chance of securing a job? Then when we come to entrepreneurial skills, this is mainly for young people who are looking to start their own business. And sometimes it starts from a business idea. How do you get that business idea just from an idea to something tangible? What are the things you need to think about as you run an enterprise? How should you look at your organization, at your hustle, for example, so that it becomes, you're building it to be a solid business which can be able to survive for the long term. And then we have money skills, which I think is really an important one. This cuts across whether you're going into work or entrepreneurship. You need to understand money. You need how to think. You need to know how to think about money and how to set yourself up for success where money is concerned. And then lastly is people skills, because we deal with people every day, and you have to agree, people are complex, but if you're able to get tips on how to be able to work with people, work through people, and get yourself more equipped, then it helps you both in the world of work and in the world of entrepreneurship. So this is available for everyone, and we usually focus on people, young people from the age of 16 to 35. So we are also working with high schools and being able to take them through this during their career days, colleges, TVETs, universities, just being able to help them through that transition. And what other activities we have lined up to be able to, we have job opportunities, we actually consider the people who have completed the Ready to Work program first. So once you do each of the modules, you get a certificate for each of the modules. And at the back end, we have the data for everyone who's completed the course. So we also try and either directly or indirectly provide placement opportunities. We know we can't be able to provide to everyone, but we do try even to work with our third-party partners. So whether we are talking about our suppliers, and very soon also looking at our customers and how we can provide those work opportunities. For entrepreneurship, we are currently running incubation for startups, and one of the things we'll be doing going forward is to consider those that have gone through the Ready to Work program and have completed the entrepreneurship through a 6 weeks program or a 4 weeks program on what are the basics of running a business, and they can be able to create a network of people like them and create a network of mentors who are available, because we do work with partners. And so they're able to get a higher chance of succeeding in their business that they're setting up and seeing how they can be able to scale it up. Over and above that, because you're a financial institution, we are also going to be, we've created a fund which will be mainly lending to startups and being able to give them more flexible terms, because if someone is a startup and then you ask them to have existed for 3 years, really you will be locking out quite a number of them. So a little bit of more flexible terms so that we can be able to support them. But then it's important for them to have gone through the incubation period so that they kind of understand the basic principles, and then we can be able to grow with them through that. So I think that's our biggest program when we talk about education and skills. We do have other areas of coaching and mentoring, which we do through our colleagues and through different partners, where we mentor and coach young people. And whenever we are invited to bring together young people, we will come and we'll be able to share about the Ready to Work program and just mentor on life and life skills and any other initiatives, and of course financials, because that is what we do on a day-to-day basis. Okay. And then lastly, on promoting just society, I think, and seeing where we can be able to support. So for example, during the COVID period, there were specific needs that we needed to support as a corporate institution, COVID-related challenges and advocacy around COVID-related issues that came about. So sometimes it varies, but we are strong around gender agenda, and we also support topical things which are topical for the environment at any particular period. So that does vary depending on the need that is there.